for the last 5 years, you almost don't even think about it, and you just rattle off the usual suspects, right? You just go Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Eagles. You just say it, and you go, they're good. This year's a little different. Because I think in our heart of hearts, we still believe in a lot of those usual suspects. We're still like, they've got to be good, right? Because so many of those players have been on teams that are good. So you're just like, they'll figure it out. But, the Bills are sitting at 4-2, but they haven't beaten a team that's won more than one game. The Chiefs have looked better as of late, but they're still sitting at 3-3. They're tied with the Carolina Panthers. The Ravens, well, they're 1-5. and not showing a ton of signs of getting better, although obviously after their bye, Lamar will be back. Maybe he can truly solve everything. Who knows? But the reason why I ask this is because it's the NFL this year, and this pertains to the Panthers who are sitting at 3-3, is significantly more parity than I think we've seen. There are 14 teams right now that have 2 or fewer losses. And that doesn't include some of the teams I just mentioned, the Kansas City Chiefs, a team like the Washington Commanders that I think many believe in and have had to deal with some injuries and things and were in a conference championship last year. 14, let's see here, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, there's multiple wins. There's so many pretty good teams. Pretty good. Who's good, right? And you could say, all right, let's look at who's playing the best. Indianapolis Colts and probably Tampa are probably playing the best.
Hard to argue against those two.
Are you looking at the Indianapolis Colts, led by Daniel Jones, and I think Daniel Jones has been unbelievable, might be playing himself into a $50 million a year contract, and just saying that's going to work out perfectly from here on out? Do you know what I almost said it's giving. Do you know what it's giving? That's what the kids say. You know what vibes I'm feeling from Indianapolis?
What's that?
A little bit of Minnesota last year, where they had Sam Darnold, and it was like, is he going to keep this up? And he was keeping it up. Is he really going to be an MVP candidate? And he was an MVP candidate until the chips were down, and in the last 2 games, the wheels kind of fell off. They ended up moving on from Sam Darnold despite being an MVP candidate. Perhaps that could happen with Indy. Tampa Bay, for as good as they've been, first of all, they've been rocked by injuries recently, and a lot of people would tell you that those last-second victories are not always the most sustainable, and it seems like every single game, Baker Mayfield has the ball with 65 seconds on the clock, down 4, and he's just got to go make something, and he's running for a 4th down conversion on 4th and 12 after shaking off 2 tackles, and then he's, for whatever reason, talking trash to somebody in the stands. Like is that sustainable without Emeka Egbuka for the next little bit, and Bucky Irving's hurt, and all these other things? And those are just 2 of the examples. Every team that you say is, they're definitely good, I think there's obvious questions and holes about. So the reason why I think this pertains and applies and is necessary to talk about for the Panthers is simple. Oh, actually, wait, we have some audio first. Mark Schlereth, who I believe is on the call for the Panthers game this weekend, and he's a 3-time Super Bowl champ, at least, was asked, is there a dominant team in the NFL? This is what he had to say.
Just last week, I said it was Detroit, and then all of a sudden Kansas City looks like they figured it out. But Kansas City looked like they figured it out 2 weeks ago, and then they go to Jacksonville on a Monday night and lose the game. No, there is no dominant team. Like if parity was your goal in the NFL, with the draft and the way you do things, and then first to worst, from a scheduling standpoint and strength of schedule, if parity was your goal, you certainly have achieved it. Because there is no dominant team out there in the NFL right now.
Schlereth, as Dennis confirmed while he was talking there, he is on the call for the Panthers game this weekend against the Jets. Here's why it matters. Sometimes in a year like this, you can talk yourself into making moves trying to steal one. Here's why it matters. Teams that, if they were the exact same level of good that they are right now in years past, may go, yeah, we got something here. I kind of like it, but we're not going to compete with fill in the blank with the really good teams of the year. So let's keep building this core and let's aim for next year. This year, is there anyone there? Like if you're sitting at 3-3, like the Carolina Panthers, is there any big bad bully on the block down at the, waiting at the end of the runway for you to go, yeah, I don't know, we probably can't beat that team. I don't think you'd be the favorite against a bunch of teams, but there's no true deterrent like there has been in the past. So let's say, and I've seen this floated out there, little rumors, let's say like Jacoby Myers becomes available from the Raiders. And you're going, well, we might be a receiver away from sneaking into the playoffs here. Now you're giving up trades and things when I don't think you should. Or another example, I'm seeing the Giants as a potential landing spot for Chris Olave if the Saints decide to sell off. Now, I'm all for being optimistic that, you got a rookie quarterback and he's got some attitude, right? Jackson Dart and Scattaboo and all the vibes coming out of New York. But New York is 2-4. I don't think they have like a reason in any situation to be a buyer at the deadline unless they think they can sneak into the postseason and then they've got some moxie and maybe they'll win a game or two. In a traditional year where there's that upper tier, I don't think they're going for it. So I think part of it is being really realistic, right? Because the way we started this conversation is who is good in the NFL? And I think if we went and asked 10 different NFL fans, we might get 10, and I said, give me your top 4 teams in the NFL. I think we might get 10 different combinations of 4, right? That's an impossible question to answer. Who's the best? Who's good? Who are the contenders? Right? If we knew that, we'd go gamble large amounts of money on it and wouldn't have to do the work that most people do. But I think the question that you should be asking about your team is not who is good. It's a little bit different, and it's more introspective. Are we good? And be honest with yourself. Don't be relative with it. Don't go, well, relative to this being a down year, we're, middle of the pack. No. Are you good? Are the Panthers good? If you can honestly, in your heart of hearts, if you're Dan Morgan, if you're Dave Canales, you've watched the film, you've grinded the tape, you've given grades for all of your players, and you go, you know what? Yeah, we're good. Any given Sunday, if another team plays, their solid game, we can beat anybody. They don't have to play their worst game of the year for us to catch them when you're looking at the best teams in the league. If you can honestly say your team is good, I will never fault you for going all in on a run if you think you are worthy. But make sure you're looking at yourself and making that decision and not just looking around the league and going, I don't think anybody's going to take this. It's kind of the the attitude of I was going to go with an analogy that wouldn't make a ton of sense there, so I'll just forget the analogy and go straight to don't think you're going to win by default. The good teams will emerge, right? It's not like, hey, if we might be the only ones to go for it this year. Like, good teams will emerge, and if you're not actually good, if you were just relatively good, you're going to set yourself up to spend some, give up some future assets to go in and end up right where you started.
That's something we saw the Panthers do a few years ago under Matt Rhule, where it's like, hey, we won a couple games early. Let's trade our tight end Dan Arnold in a third-round pick, and let's go get C.J. Henderson to go boost our defense. They started making moves like that. Let's go get Laviska Shenault. And then all of a sudden, you're like you said, you're trading assets in such a way. But if you are Carolina, and you look at the standings right now, you go, wait a second, we're only one game back in the win column from a playoff spot. And you have the Jets coming up this weekend. Now, can you win on the road? Because, yeah, you've been great at home. Can you win on the road? You go if you're 4-3 after this weekend, you might be like, hey, guys, we have a legit chance to make something out of this because you still got the Saints twice. They stink. You never know. You just don't know. If you can bank some wins right now, put yourself in a good spot. You simply don't know. I'm going to put the cart way ahead of the horse here, but a win this Sunday goes a long way in helping that cause.
But it goes along with what I'm saying here, which is You could be on a 3-game win streak,
Mhm.
and by the way, enjoy it. Like fans, go crazy. You have to look at yourself and say, is that 3-game win streak real, like playoff team real? Or did we catch 3 really bad teams and even the Cowboys who were not bad and played well offensively, they didn't have CD and they had this other stuff going on. Like, you need to look and say, are those 3 wins the type of wins that show we're a playoff team? Or are those 3 wins the type of wins that show we're moving in the right direction and we should continue to build for the long term? Like, is now when you want to cash in your chips? Because if you're looking around the league right now, I don't think there's anything scary, right? I think they could beat, if they played tomorrow, they could beat Tampa if Tampa doesn't have a great day. Tampa's 5-1 and they're number 1 in the NFC. But Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin get healthy. Bucky Irving gets healthy. Are you still that confident? I don't know. Looking at the rest of the NFC, if the Niners have Brock Purdy come back and he's playing great, and if they get some of their injured players back, okay, now maybe that's 2 good teams. I still think the Eagles have the level of talent advantage, even if their offense looks really shaky right now. You know they can put it together, and you know they're comfortable in big games. Are the Carolina Panthers good? Or are they in a pack of 24 teams this year that are not awful? It's a slightly different question, and you have to make sure you get it right, because you can set yourself back, as Dennis brought up, the Panthers have done a few times, by going all in with a roster that's not ready to go all in. And you don't want to give back any progress that you have made and then set yourself back next year, the year after, as some of these teams kind of bounce back.